the Wozniak and Jobs partnership is a great example of soft skills meeting hard skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I refute that claim.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Society. I'm John. Nice to meet you once again.
I'm Alex. Always a pleasure.
So this episode is an interesting one.
It's a response.
It's a response episode to some really good feedback we got the other day.
Some interesting feedback.
Yeah, so we made an episode about, non-technical founders.
What to do if you have a great technology idea and the impetus to start your own startup, but don't have a technical co-founder. What do you do? How do you find one? What do you do if you can't? Et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in response to the Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak part of the previous podcast, there was a comment about this, which basically said, Wozniak was the brain behind the first Apple. Jobs did not come up with the idea and then get Woz to implement.
Yeah, so apparently it was a bad example of a non-technical founder and a technical
That's
founder.
right.
Which actually wasn't the point of the example. And saying that Steve Jobs was non-technical, I think, is not quite fair.
Mm.
But he definitely was more about the soft skills than the technical. But let's continue.
So he goes on to continue that Wozniak had the first circuit design, no input from Steve Jobs.
He was the brains behind Apple.
Steve Wozniak was the person to go around the tech gatherings, drumming up interests and just gauging potential.
Yeah.
But that's all the soft skill stuff.
The impetus was already there. The idea already kind of existed, but there wasn't something to rally around to make it a reality.
It's like a unified vision, a leader.
Exactly.
And that was valuable. That actually brought everything together.
But there's no doubt that what Steve Jobs brought to the table was leadership and passion and, let's face it, an ability to sell a product, like holy shit, sell a product, and make Apple a reality and make personal computers on everyone's desk.
Slick, nice.
Almost a reality, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Microsoft who made it the everyone.
I still remember the MacBook Air announcement where he had it inside
in the envelope.
In the envelope?
Yeah. He can sell, man.
Yeah.
He can sell. You know,
and that was so valuable.
Yeah, and Wozniak, while he was technically brilliant, absolutely, there's no doubt about that. Steve Wozniak is a hero of mine. Probably more so than Steve Jobs.
Yep.
You know, but there is no denying Steve Jobs' ability to sell a product and sell the dream of Apple.
Yeah.
So that's what...
That's not an idea, see? That's where we go to...
Yeah, soft skills.
That's right. Soft skills add so much.
Yeah.
And again, it's usually hard to quantify, but in this case, you got some hard sales numbers shooting through the roof.
Yeah, one of the most valuable companies on the planet, all because of this guy, right?
Yeah, it's more than just the technical implementation. It's more than just the execution.
The Wozniak and Jobs partnership is a great example of soft skills meeting hard skills.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I refute that claim. Yeah. And I think it's a revisionist history to say it was all Wozniak.
Well,
what did Steve Jobs bring to the table?
And the opposite as well. If it was all Jobs as well. There's a lot of people that...
No, they needed each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a successful partnership. And both skills were required.
That's right.
Yeah.
And rarely or never will you find someone with all the skills. No. And if you did find someone with all the skills, they don't have enough time to do everything. The one unicorn guy who has 40 hours a day to build things, execute,
and sell them.
And sell, and network.
And yeah.
It's just not possible.
And
that's why you need someone with non-technical skills.
So we'll go back to one of the points of our constructive criticism. Here we have a non-technical person who thinks he has a good idea. He goes looking for some co-founder who has the skills to turn that idea into an actual product. Interesting point.
Yep.
My immediate question is this. If the idea is the only thing this non-technical person can bring to the table, that's a pretty big assumption.
Yeah.
Why would any technical guy who was able to build stuff need a partner like that? Okay, I'm gonna stop. I want to stop right there. It's pretty obvious. It's not about the idea. Like we've already said, if this non-technical person who's got this idea and wants it built is able to sell it to the developer, to the technical person who can actually build the product, that's an achievement that speaks to that person's ability to then sell the business in the future.
Unless they're just going to pay for the development.
Well, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
But if they can get someone on board, a co-founder.
A co-founder, exactly.
And actually convince them that it's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's already more than just an idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I find not fair about that complaint is that it's not just about the idea, and it's not just about the technical skills about being able to write the code. The execution is more than that. Everyone who is a software developer can write code, but can they design a great product? If he's able to sell this idea to his potential technical co-founder, then he's obviously put a lot of thought into it already. So when that product is being designed with his technical co-founder, his input is invaluable.
That's right. Especially if he's in the industry as well.
So it's more than just can he write the code, which I think is a dangerous mistake to get caught up on.
Does he know what the purpose of the product is?
Yes.
What it's meant to do, how it's meant to work.
What the target market wants it to do.
Yes.
So he continues. So here we have the technical guy working his tail off, while the non-technical guy, who by definition cannot contribute anything at this stage, which I think we just refuted. Yep. He absolutely can. Just stands around and whistles. No. I mean, obviously not. I don't want to say it, but this person obviously has no experience in starting a business. No experience.
So during the development phase of a product, the software development phase of a product, what can be done during that process? So while the developers are...
There is so much to do.
I know there's...
So much to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's... I mean, are you looking for venture capital? Are you looking for investors? Are you looking for seed capital? Are you testing your product before it's built? Are you like talking to your target market? Building... You got to build a website. You got to build a network of people. Are you looking for more people to help you building a team?
Board. Yeah.
There's so much to do at this stage than just building the product. And in fact, I would say if you're jumping into this by building the product before doing all the other stuff, you're wasting your time.
That's right. You need to work on it upfront, I think.
You need to test
your market.
Test your market well before you're actually building it.
Yeah.
You build it once you have all the evidence. And I mean, the kind of evidence that you could take to an angel investor and say, look, people want this. People will pay for this. They've already said they'll pay for it. Here's all the research we've done. We've talked to everyone.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that and you're just sitting by a computer writing code, you're totally disconnected from the actual outcome. You're lost. You may as well contribute to open source projects. Your time would be far more valuable doing that. So what can the non-technical co-founder bring rather than just standing by and whistling a tune? He can actually make sure the business has legs. So you just have to... You have to be happy with what you're getting.
Yes.
And don't compare it to the other person unless they're ripping you off. And I think it should be clear when you're being ripped off. You should just be, this is what I'm getting for what I'm doing. I think that's fair. Simple as that. But you can't do it alone.
Exactly.
And if you think that you can build a product and then go out and sell it, that's some bad news for you.
Unless you got 40 hours a day.
Yeah.
To build it and to sell it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like you need to do one or the other.
Well, it's one of those pieces are more than the whole thing. You need to really... In a team that complements each other, you can achieve so much more.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're going with this, I think, is that you need that person that doesn't build software, that person that goes out there and sells for you.
Yeah.
That's precious.
I mean, they can write some code as well, but you need focus.
Yeah.
And selling it is...
its own game, really.
It's equally as important.
That's right.
So when this guy says, when our friend with his constructive criticism says, here we have the technical guy working his tail off while the non-technical guy
Whistling.
does nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't actually answer that because it's such a false scenario, and when it actually
Though it can happen if you have a shitty non-technical co-founder.
absolutely, but
They just kind of sit around waiting for the app to be built.
and that's when you go separate ways.
That's right.
You know,
So it should never get to that point. And if it
that's
does,
right.
it's time to
I
split up.
also don't think that's the norm.
Mm.
Honestly, I don't think it's the norm. Because the kind of person who was able to go to developer meetups and meet a technical co-founder and convince that person to join them on this fool's errand, which is what most startups are,
Yeah.
they're not going to sit around waiting.
Well, yeah, this scenario, it was incepted by a relationship that was never going to work in the first place.
Yeah.
And if it's reached this point, it's best to really sort out this problem first before you move forward and continue building.
I think this scenario was dreamed up by... I think...
I can imagine it happening. I can see it in my mind's eye. Some poor developer having to, to do this thing while someone is just imagining how it works,
Yeah. Most developers actually don't understand what goes on when that soft skills.
Yeah. So it's important
Space.
but that's why you need someone that's why you need advisors, actually. This is where the technical and non-technical advisors will come in. And then they know what the person should be doing, and they'll be able to help direct as well. Because otherwise, you kind of just assume there's nothing to be done. The non-technical guy might be standing around just waiting. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But it can happen.
It can happen. It doesn't usually, though.
Yeah.
I mean...
Maybe first-time entrepreneurs, first-time startup founders who don't understand, who hasn't gone out enough.
I actually don't. I don't have an example of that. I've never come across it.
Neither do I. I just hear stories, but you never know.
In fact, you know what? My experience is the developer rips off the other people.
That also
because
happens.
they feel that resentment.
Yes.
They end up controlling the product, and they
So that's happened enough times that I can actually count.
Yeah, we have multiple examples of that.
Yes.
I don't want to name names, but several of the people we know who probably listen to this podcast have experienced being ripped off by their technical co-founder.
Yeah, so thank you for the feedback, though.
Yeah, we really appreciate the feedback, and we will always answer any feedback we get.
Yes. It's important because a lot of this is...
It's conversational.
Yes.
It's just you and me having a chat.
That's right.
So we may miss things.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for listening. This is Tech Society FM with Alex and John. We'll see you next time.
Signing off. Thank you for listening.